Unscripted.
Now listen, it comes across super fanboyish when I bring up just how fantastic the PlayStation 5 has been. Okay, like a lot of people just assume that I'm just a fanboy or bandwagoning or something like that. Not exactly the case. I always kind of mention that I'm a gamer first and foremost. Like I've always had every PlayStation, I've always had every Xbox. I leaned more towards Xbox because I was much more of a multiplayer type gamer, and given that I really like multiplayer gaming, I like single player as well. But it just seemed like Xbox was the better fit for me for a long, long time. And, that sort of has changed over the course of last generation. What I mean by that is, I really enjoyed Gears of War, that series on the 360. Once Microsoft got a hold of it, I didn't enjoy it as much. I don't know if there's any particular reason, but I think maybe just the characters didn't resonate with me as much. The new characters and the story. And the gameplay, what they did and stuff like that, is like I think that didn't resonate with me as much as they did on the Xbox 360. Also a lot of the stuff that they did with like the way that they do the microtransactions and stuff like that, I really thought that was kind of bad form for them to do, especially given the fact that I would much rather just pay for a season pass, to be quite frank. And get all the skins and all that kind of stuff and like DLC or what have you. But even with that being said, it still blows my mind that that Xbox went from such a competitive place with the 360, with stuff like Halo 3 and Halo Reach and Gears 1, 2, and 3, and the first Mass Effect was exclusive, and the second Mass Effect was exclusive for a year, and they had really good Forza Motorsport games. I think Forza Motorsport 3 maybe the best Forza Motorsport game in the history, and I sad to say, like I bought Motorsport 2, but I didn't play it much. I got a gift card for Walmart for my birthday one year, and I got the complete edition of Forza Motorsport 3, and I just fell in love with that game. And then Forza Horizon, obviously the first one is still my favorite. It was like so many great things were happening for the Xbox 360, and yeah, I like the PS3 as well. But I played, like I said, I played a lot of multiplayer games, and the PS3 had frame rate issues with with like Call of Duty and stuff like that. It just wasn't as easy to develop for or whatever. And, so I would play the exclusives and stuff on the PlayStation 3, and then I would play the multiplats and the Xbox exclusives on Xbox, like a lot of people did. And, with that being said, I still find it a little bit funny that, all this time later, it's the roles have kind of reversed. It's like I don't understand how these are companies, right? And these are like billion-dollar companies, trillion-dollar companies, what have you. And they're not smart enough to realize like trends or whatever. They repeat the same mistakes over and over again, and that's really something that is a bit of a kind of a downer. And what I mean by that is this, okay? If Microsoft would have been in tune with gamers, on social media or what have you, just paid attention, they would have known that gamers didn't want that whole DRM setup, and gamers didn't want that whole type of setup that they originally envisioned with the Xbox One. They didn't really want the Kinect. They didn't really want any of that stuff. So with that being said, it was just so funny that they went and did that anyway. Okay, and now it's like they sort of are backtracking and doing those things again with the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S. There's a lot of DRM and stuff in that, but it's like they didn't really pay attention. They didn't pay attention to what happened to Sony with the PlayStation 3. And again, this is really something that sort of harkens back to just paying attention to what the fans want. And I think that the fans really want, this hardcore gaming system that just plays great games. And I think the games, obviously being the most important thing, are something that Microsoft sort of forgets about in the long term. They're really busy kind of talking up, all the different ways you can play stuff on a phone or on a tablet or what have you. But at the end of the day, that doesn't do any good if you don't have the content. And I've mentioned this time and time again. I do want to get started on this because I think it's going to be a good video, but this just goes to show you how important it is to pay attention to your fans. What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I really do appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. It helps out the channel, and it means a lot to me personally. And if you guys really want to help out a small little crappy channel like mine, the best way to do it, a simple like. It really does go a long way. It's free for you guys and means everything to me. So I put a lot of hard work into it. I do at least one video a day. I can't think of the last time where I didn't do at least one video. I guess it was back when I was rehabilitating my injuries in February. But yeah, you know, I put in a lot of work for these. This is a great hobby of mine. I love video games. I've been playing a lot of video games. I love responding to you guys and interacting with you guys. It's just a good time for me. So shout out to all the old subscribers, new subscribers, and everybody in between. Now, you guys have probably seen that I have kind of talked about the different things that goes on. But again, Microsoft doesn't even let me pretend like they want me as a customer for the most part, right? It seems like whenever I mention something, as they don't even care, right? Like, oh, if you listen to Phil Spencer's comments lately, he's like, well, we don't really, this holiday doesn't really matter. Next holiday is going to be the important one. So you're telling me the millions of people that potentially buy your consoles between now and next holiday don't matter enough to get some decent damn games? Like, that to me is always just going to be something that I don't agree with and don't understand. And then when you look at it like this, they don't even act like they care or want you. So if you look at what PlayStation's done, they've outspent Microsoft for Xbox Series X ads 3-1 in launch ads, and I think this is very critical going into next generation as well. So we'll have to see how that kind of plays out long term, but it is very significant to see such a wide gap at a launch of brand new hardware kind of going forward, especially during the holiday season, with Sony's PlayStation and the new Xbox console kind of going head to head respectively. The PS5 clearly outselling the competition, while the competition between the two consoles themselves are pretty stiff. So far, the PS5 is outselling the Xbox Series X internationally and just worldwide, and analysts are predicting that the new PlayStation will outsell the new Xbox possibly 2-1 or even 3-1 by the time all things are kind of said and done. So it could be a huge reason why a lot of things are going in Sony's favors is you keep seeing these advertisements, right? And for some reason, Microsoft doesn't believe in advertising on TV. They don't believe in advertising a traditional way. But again, advertising on a dashboard to a product that people already have isn't going to get your product into more people's homes, and they don't seem to kind of recognize that. So I think that that's a bit of a mistake on their part, and hopefully they can kind of fix that going forward. I just don't understand why they wouldn't want to advertise. So Sony spent 3 times as much on ads as Microsoft did in the month ahead, and immediately following, the PS5 launched on November 12th and the Xbox Series X on November 10th. From October 19th to November 15th, Sony spent $15 million on ads for the PlayStation 5, while Microsoft spent about $5 million on ads for the Xbox Series X, according to a new report from the Advertising and Sales Intelligence platform, which analyzed ad spend across print, TV, and digital. And the report found that Microsoft was pretty much left out in the cold when it comes to advertising their new consoles. The report found that Sony spent around $7.3 million up to the day of launch, while Microsoft spent about $3 million. Although competitor Nintendo did not release a new console, the report found that it too increased its ad spend, and Nintendo spent 138% higher than the previous 2 weeks. Thanks to those 3 category leaders, the 2-week period at the start of November with the most active for video gaming category in terms of ad spend so far in 2020 overall. So, ad spending is up overall 80% year over year, but it's just interesting that Microsoft chose to kind of go a much lesser route with what they were actually spending and sort of portraying out there for people to actually go out there and get. I mean, you could look at it and say, well, what could they possibly advertise? Sony has Call of Duty on lockdown. Microsoft did have Assassin's Creed, which, that's a cross-gen game, not exactly showcasing much. Yakuza, again, doesn't really look like a great proper next-gen game. They didn't really have anything exclusively to sort of showcase to show off. So, I mean, that could have been one of the reasons. In fact, if you do look at a lot of the advertisements that Microsoft do have, a lot of them are still centered around Master Chief and Halo and things like that. So, again, that's a game that didn't even come out. It's delayed, and we'll have to see how that kind of works out. But again, it just feels like Microsoft doesn't even want people in there, as their as their fans or to buy their consoles or whatever. So even Jim Ryan in this new interview was talking about how wrong it was where people were saying that that PlayStation was abandoning in Japan, and he kind of came out there and said that that wasn't the case, and they really like the Japanese market and fans, and they're catering to them and things like that. So I think that to have them come out there and say that they're actually wanted as people to buy their platform, I think is a huge difference between Sony and Microsoft, and just sort of goes to show you the difference in type of thinking going forward. And we'll have to wait and see how that pans out long term, but I think it's a brilliant strategy from Sony, to say the least. And hopefully Microsoft can kind of get on board and get some things out there, because right now it just seems like they just don't care. I mean, they literally just do not care about selling their console or their platform, and they really kind of just want to go like this third-party route, and that's fine, but at least be upfront about it and let everybody know about it. But I will link all of this stuff in the description, and you can let me know what you think. Have a great day. Rack 'em up. Crapgamer out.
Unscripted.